but he's not going to have the resources to provide for a whole fucking village of children that he's fathered,
this
right?
is why, hold on. That's why hypergamy is so strong.
Yeah.
That's why women pick the best guys.
Best guy.
Because she knows, like, it's since the beginning of time, like, the strongest men that have had the most resources always had harems of women, because women understood my security overrides my emotions and my female hubris that I think I'm special. It's only in modern day times, really, that women think that they're equal to a man and they should have a high value man to themselves. Since forever, women have had the uncomfortable truth of understanding, if I'm with a high-value guy, there's a bunch of other women that are also going to want that security from that guy. I'm just going to have to acknowledge that I'm a part of this family. So with women, they're not going to fuck a guy unless he's a winner in the first place, because pregnancy is a high investment for her.
Destiny.
Yeah, I understand real quick. I understand what you're saying from certain evolutionary strategies.
Yeah.
I just, in one sense, I don't always see it playing out that way today in terms of, if we're talking for ultra high value men, right?
Sure.
That this might be something that like top 2%, top 1% of men could do, where you're juggling essentially like a harem of women.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Sure.
But there are so many other circumstances where if you're a woman and you've got a guy, like him stepping out is going to be the most frightful fucking experience of your life. Maybe 30 years ago, maybe one guy could provide resources for a whole group of people, which I don't even think ever actually happened. You probably always have like groups of like men and women. It's not just going to be one guy that has all the kids, right? Otherwise, why would the other men be invested in even taking care of that household?
Well, no. I mean, that's how it's been. Like
one guy with like 19 women and all their kids, like
so
Mad
historically
Max?
speaking, like since the beginning of time, like one man is procreated for every 17 women.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That tells you that like the women were concentrating on a very small minority of men. A small minority of men were having sex with the majority of the women, because women are hypergamous by nature and pick the best guys. And
What's the evolutionary strategy for the men that stuck to the tribes?
they just didn't procreate.
This is how we load the mix-ins into Blue Bunny. We make fun.
Yeah, but then how are they not just like gone? Why wouldn't they just leave?
Because you
make their own tribe, like-
strengthen the tribes. Like,
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
from a genetic point of view, that's not a winning strategy.
It isn't, but like that's why the dominance hierarchies are. That's why men operate on hierarchies. Like there's always winners and losers. The top guys got all the girls, and then the other guys were turned into eunuchs or whatever it may be. And they like, okay, you can go ahead and go off on your own, bro. But we got the chicks here, and we're gonna go hunt without you. So you don't need women are valuable. Men are not. Men are expendable commodities. Like if you have a couple of guys, you can make some shit happen. But if you don't have a couple women, you guys are fucking dead. So I think that's why like the women are almost always protected in society. Even today's day and age, they say children and women first, because they're the future of the generation. So with men, you only need a couple. One guy can impregnate 100 women, but if you have 100 men and one woman, we're fucked. You know.
Destiny, how would you feel? This is a hypothetical, right? Let's say your wife or your girl, right, went out, had maybe like a sexual affair or whatever, and she got pregnant. She came home to you, right, and said, "Hey, babe, I'm pregnant. You think it's
raising
yours?"
that kid?
You take care of the kid for let's say 10, 15 years.
Wait, why the fuck would I do that with a paternity test?
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm saying you believe her, right? Let's say you find out it's not your kid after like 10 years. What would you do? How would you feel?
I feel pretty dumb for not getting a paternity test.
That's what guys feel. If I know my girl's going to be out there doing
I don't think we make decisions like that right now. Like we have the ability to avoid pregnancies and to check, like really what would happen if she came when she was pregnant is like, we're flying to fucking California, we're getting an abortion. Like, that's what we're going to do. That's what want a kid right now. That's the real thing of what's happening, right? But like, I understand, I guess I feel like there's not an acknowledgement on the other side. Like, I understand what you're saying here, and that there might be some reproductive strategy in the guy, but this is I don't know why a woman would ever try to lock down a promiscuous male with children when that guy might meet a younger, hotter woman and just step the fuck out on you, and then he's gone. And now she's burdened with having to provide for that child, because there's no guarantee she's getting child support. If they're not married, she's not getting alimony. If there's a prenup, she might be fucked, right? Not only is she now burdened with those children, God bless them, that sounds mean, but she has to deal with that. Her future is fucked, because being a single mom is now you're fucked on so many different dating markets compared to single dads are honestly have it better than a single mom who's like completely fucked. So
sure.
Like if we're just going by like what is like the best like reproductive strategy or whatever, I don't think a woman should ever be selecting for a promiscuous male. Like even if you could go for like that top 1% guy, I think you'd rather get like a top 40% guy that you know is not going to be sleeping around or cheating on you or looking to upgrade the second he can to another woman and then leave you high and dry with
Here's
two
the problem
kids and
with
now
that.
you're 33 and 5.
That sounds logical. That sounds great on paper, but
No,
women,
that's not logical. That would just be biology.
No. But here's the thing: like their biology doesn't allow them to do that.
Exactly.
The thing is that like even though on paper it's terrible for a woman to pick a promiscuous guy, and I agree with you, it's a very stupid thing to do. But the thing is that promiscuous guy that has all the girls is inherently attractive, and attraction is not a choice. Women respond very favorably to guys that can get other women, and they respond. Think about it. fuckboys, assholes, dickheads, Dan Blazarian, Hugh Hefner, Andrew Tate, as people want to say nowadays, his brother Tristan. These guys are all playboys. They have these misogynistic, toxic traits, but women love it. Why? Because it shows women are attracted to men that don't give a fuck about them. So I get what you're saying. They should select for the more average guy that's going to be loyal to ensure their security, but they don't.
Do you think there's a difference between sexual selection and relationship selection? Because I would agree that women will fuck with fuckboys for sure, but getting with them in a long-term relationship, unless it's like a rich guy.
If they can tie them down, they definitely will try
but
to.
how can you tie them down? It can't be with a kid. Guys are stepping on kids all the time.
Well, okay, are we talking about today or are we talking about in the past? Like
today.
Okay.
I can understand a woman being attracted to a promiscuous guy because, I mean, if he is promiscuous, it's because he's already accomplished like a certain amount.
Yeah,
right? We
sure.
can agree with that.
For sure.
But to try to go after that guy just seems like such a bad reproductive strategy. Like, having sex with him, yes, but a relationship, unless he's already like really high status in some other way. Like you mentioned, like Hugh Hefner and stuff. These people might be fuckboys, but they're not just fuckboys. They're successful too, right? These people are wealthy people. They have some resources. I can understand like that attraction there. But I feel like I know girls that will look at a guy and be like, I would fuck that dude. No fucking way would I ever date that guy though. I wouldn't trust like that.
The thing is that they fuck that guy and then they hope for something more. They realize this guy's not going to commit. Okay, fuck it. And then what happens is they fuck those guys in their peak years, in their 20s, right? We call it riding a cock carousel, right? On this side of the internet. And then they hit their 30s and then next thing you know, it's like, fuck, where'd all the good guys go? And then that's when they settle with a guy that might be a little less attractive. That's when they start to concede, depending on the girl's own value. Or they don't. They say, fuck it, I'm going to stay single. So, and then they end up not being satisfied anyway because the guy's a pussy. But the very things that create that security that she's attracted to are the very same things that makes her lose arousal for that man.
Do you think, okay, so let's assume I'll grant you all of this, and I'll ask you a question on the other end. I'm kind of curious.
Sure.
So if I grant you all of that, do you think that when you're pushing for women that are not as, I'll say masculine, that aren't going after careers, that aren't going after whatever, don't you think you're kind of pushing women into that territory where you want them to act like that? Because it seems like the only way that, like, how would you break a woman out of that, like, really baser, I just want to fuck the most fuckable guy and do that till I'm 30 or whatever? Like, it seems like the way you would break somebody out of that is to encourage them to live a more, like, I'll say liberal lifestyle, liberalism with a capital L, like go after a career, do some shit. Like don't just try to like fuck, the most attractive guys in your 20s, but like try to make something yourself. Do you think that those women are more likely to make better decisions, or do you think they're going to be stuck in the same cock carousel as?
Are you talking about like the women that are empowered that go to school? Yeah. And I mean, the thing is that that's the dream. That's the Sex and the City lifestyle that like kind of has been sold to women since like the 90s and, since feminism really. So that sounds better. Like they tell them, hey, go to school, get your education, put off children, put off whatever. But what feminism doesn't tell women is that as they get older and earn more money, they actually decrease their chances of finding the very man that they're competing in the college universities for. So, I would tell a girl, your best bet is to cash your chips early when you're at your highest, value and get the best guy that you can get when you're still young and beautiful. But a lot of girls want to wait off and say, hey, I'm going to find my guy at 31, 32 after I have my law degree. Yeah. Well, you've effectively handicapped yourself because what happened now is that you're older. You probably had sex with more people. You've been through some relationships. You have some experience on you and you have a degree, which earns you a lot of money. Congratulations. You've turned into the man that you want to be. And quite frankly, now most guys don't qualify for you. So I would say if you want a fruitful relationship and get the best guy that you can get and have children, you want to get married and get a serious relationship going when you're still young and have the ability to attract that guy. But we tell women, no, put her off. And then they get to the end of the line and then, they end up on our podcast crying at 33 because they can't get a guy that they wanted.
Okay, I'll do this last time. I'll do the final word story because I know we're struggling. It feels like if you set a woman up for that, if you tell a woman that like in your early 20s, you need to find a guy who is the highest value you can get at early 20s, because that's the highest. I think the average dating age is like 24 female, 30 male. I think is like these are like consider your peak years, right?
Yes.
That if you aim for that and you go after a guy that's like that, then you're going after the type of guy that's always going to be looking for women like that. That like if you are advertising yourself at your peak reproductive years or whatever. Hopefully, when you start dating that guy, hopefully you lock him down with a kid as soon as possible, which there's a whole host of relationship problems there that we don't have to get into. But like, hopefully you get that as soon as possible, within a year, I guess, of dating. But now you selected for the exact type of man who's looking for that optimal reproductive age woman. And it feels like that strategy is always going to keep both ends like fucking
fantastic point.
Right?
That's why I tell women, if you want to be with a winner, understand that you have to share him. That's an uncomfortable truth that I tell women all the time is that if you're going to be with a winner, guess what? Every other girl wants that very guy, and there's not enough for them to go around. High value men or beautiful women are common. And I think that's an issue that a lot of modern day women have, where they think, we tell women all the time, they're special, they're beautiful, they deserve the best, etc. The reality is no. Beauty is common. Like, you guys are all the fucking same. You all believe in, spiritual signs and zodiac signs and a bunch of bullshit. And, quite frankly, like, a lot of women are a lot more similar than they think they are. And my thing is that you have a highly successful, ambitious guy. That's rare to come by. you're not going to have them to yourself. Get your fucking ego out the side. Understand that you need to be the number one chick, and the other girls are going to be side chicks. And you do that by adding value, having a kid with him, getting him to commit to you, and then bam, now you have some insurance policies in place where he's going to be punished for leaving you.
Okay, gave you the last one. Because we'll just go back and forth. So
I mean, it's fine. I think it's a good discussion. I think we actually agreed on that a lot more than
there's a lot of like descriptive parts that I'll agree on, right? Like I know like the
sure.
average like optimal attractive ages or whatever, like the 24 female, 30 for male. I guess I just get worried sometimes that when we send people down those roads, you're committing them to, in my opinion, what is kind of like an unsatisfactory life. That like ideally we are selecting each other for more than just like optimal male fucking achievement and optimal female fucking youth and beauty.
But that's the end
that
goal.
I would hope.
That's the ultimate goal.
I don't think so. That's not the most fulfilling goal. That might be like in the most base or biological sense, like the way that we like kind of ooga booga relate to each other. But I think that we could push people a little bit more to like go after a little bit more in life in terms of like relationships, rather than like I'm trying to find like the tightest fucking 24-year-old pussy that will have my children as quick as possible.
I'll give you this, Destiny. So what you mentioned, I would consider those auxiliary benefits, but the primary benefits are what you described: the youth and beauty versus demand, security, and status. And then everything after that is like auxiliary. Like think of it as like extra credit, right? Like you still have to score. Like the woman still has to obviously reach an attraction standard. The man still has to reach like a success standard for them to even like be attracted to each other in the first place. Then from there, oh, she has a redeeming quality because she's she has this hobby that she's not the hottest. She's a 7, but she's really submissive. She's a good woman. I'll take this girl over a baddie. Does that make sense? Like those
I agree with you, but I would swap the auxiliary and primary, I guess. Like it'd be cool if she was like young and able to have kids and blah 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 blah. But like if I find like I guess the difference is that like if you and me were in the same spot and there was like a 32-year-old woman that fit like everything that I would want in life.
Okay.
And then there was like a 24-year-old woman who's way fucking hotter, but she was like deficient in a lot of areas. But she's not like horrible. That it feels like somebody in your position, not you, but somebody in your position might opt for the 24-year-old and I would opt for the 32-year-old.